So I had a thought these past few days, and it is about one of sports events that I follow really, really closely. I follow loads of esports, but there's only so much time in a day. I can only watch so many things. Um, One of the esports things that really sort of grabs me and really I find really compelling is the race to world first in World of Warcraft. I find it compelling because it's really unique. It is really, really interesting because there's always something new. Know, you're never gonna get. It's not, and this is no disrespect to these things, but it's not a shooter where you know the maps, you know what could come up. You have no idea what's going to come up in this race. I find it really really cool. If you don't know, this is a sport where raid releases in WoW every sort of 3 to 12 months, depending on how barren the game is. And the best players in the world all rush out the gates and try and kill it as fast as they possibly can before the other teams. Now, Echo had won the last 3 races. Echo are a European guild, and they mainly compete against Liquid, who is the North American guild. They tend to have a monopoly on regions, and they tend to get the best players and therefore compete the best. But if we change it over here, this time, Liquid won. And this, for me, is really important. The reason I think it's really important is because this, essentially, I don't think we'll ever know the knock-on effect of this, and I might be being a bit hyperbolic here, but I think this has saved the whole thing. I think this has, especially with the tuning of the raid, which is a separate topic, and I don't want to dive like too deep into the WoW thing, but essentially, if Echo would have won this again, I think you'd start to get into a position where people don't really care as much because they know who's going to win before it even starts. One of the things that I like to talk about a lot in regards to esports, in regards to sports in general, but I think it is more important in esports, is competition. I think competition is the most important thing. I think when one team dominates in esports, the viewership plummets. Nobody cares anymore unless there's a clear challenger that can actually win. Um, I think I don't have the numbers on this, but I bet if you looked at a world where T1 were probably going to win in League of Legends versus a world where it was up in the air about who would win, I bet you the viewership was higher on the second. Um, I mean, another example of this is the Bundesliga in Germany. Um, you know, you know who's going to win this. This column on the left is the last 9 winners. They've all been Bayern Munich. You know who's going to win this before you come in. Nobody really cares anymore outside of Germany because why would you? You know who's won before it even starts. Um, they're ahead again now. It's not interesting. But this could actually be detrimental to the whole thing. And I think the same can be applied here. So, German teams don't tend to do too well in the Champions League. The only ones that do, and that's, sorry, the sort of more international tournament, it's Europe's best teams going against each other on a yearly basis. And the German teams don't tend to do so well. They've won it a lot. They have. They've won it 6 times. The other teams, they don't tend to go anywhere. Sorry, Bayern Munich, that is, have won it 6 times. I think. I might be wrong on that, but they've won it more than the rest of the German teams anyway, let's put it that way. And of course, German teams are absolutely nowhere to be found in this one. And that is solely, there's a lot of different factors. But a big part of that is this. When one team dominates anything, you get decreased viewership because there is no story. You get decreased revenue as a result of that. You get decreased sponsorships. Again, ties into the revenue. Nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. I can't tell you a single person that I know that is even football mad that has probably watched a single Bayern Munich game because we don't care. Nobody cares. It only starts to get talked about when Bayern Munich aren't winning and everybody goes, hold on a fucking second, that's not normal. What's going on over here? But when they're walking away with it by 10 points, again, Nobody really cares. And I think you risked running into this again with this. But I talk about this a lot privately, and I've not really delved into YouTube as a space yet. But I think that storylines are the most important thing in any type of competition, and competition breeds a storyline. Storyline breeds viewership, etc., etc. All the things that we mentioned before. So with this race now, and this applies to other sports, this is not just this one, but with this race, you've now got Liquid, who are the reigning champions when they haven't been for the past 3 tiers. You've got the storyline of can Echo get the crown back? There was a third guild of Method who came on really strong, and we're not that far behind in the grand scheme of things. But you've got now 3 storylines there about 3 guilds, and Method have a load of legacy, and that builds a storyline, and this builds a storyline, and the viewership for the race and the race as a whole benefits and comes up from this. Echo would have won this. I'm not sure any of that happened. I don't think anybody really cares about Method in that point. They probably go, oh, congratulations, Method managed to get close. Now it's a case of Liquid won, Echo came second, and Method are rising. And that is really important. More important than anybody will ever know. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't want to start rambling. But, you know, imagine if you came into every TV show and you knew exactly what was going to happen and how. Wouldn't give a shit, would you? You would not care at all. No one would watch that. And I think we would probably call that. What would we call that? The Walking Dead.